The night of the CEO's house party was supposed to be a celebration. I had worked tirelessly for months to secure a big deal, and the invitation to my boss's mansion felt like recognition. My wife, Sarah, looked stunning in her navy dress, her smile lighting up the room as we walked in. The chandeliers sparkled, the glasses clinked, and everyone was in high spirits. I felt proud to have her by my side. As the night went on, the CEO introduced me to some of his most important clients. Among them was Mr. Khalid, a wealthy man with an intimidating aura. He was known for arrogance, but his money often made people excuse his behavior. He sized me up coldly, then shifted his eyes toward Sarah. His stare lingered longer than it should have, making me uneasy. We all stood in a circle, exchanging pleasantries, when suddenly Khalid smirked and pointed directly at Sarah. His words, loud enough for everyone to hear, froze the air around us. "She's coming with me." The laughter in the background faded. The arrogance in his voice was like a slap across my face. I glanced at Sarah, whose shocked expression mirrored mine. The insult wasn't just directed at her, it was meant to humiliate me in front of my peers, my boss, and everyone who mattered in my career. My fists clenched, but I forced myself to breathe. This wasn't the kind of place where a fistfight would solve anything. The CEO quickly tried to diffuse the tension with a nervous laugh, saying Khalid was joking, but the man's smirk told me otherwise. His words weren't a joke, they were a declaration, an attempt to establish power. I swallowed my anger, guiding Sarah away before things escalated. But inside, a storm had started brewing. That night, I barely slept. The image of Khalid pointing at my wife burned in my mind. The humiliation in front of everyone, the whispers, the glances, the awkward silence, ate away at me. I knew I couldn't let it go. Respect, once lost, can't be easily restored. I needed a plan, not just to defend my dignity, but to make Khalid regret his arrogance. The next morning, Sarah sat beside me, still upset. "You can't just let this go," she said. Her words confirmed what I already felt. I promised her I wouldn't. But instead of anger, I chose strategy. Khalid may have been rich, but he wasn't untouchable. I knew something he didn't. That deal I had worked on gave me leverage. Over the next week, I quietly gathered information. I learned that Khalid's business heavily relied on the very project I had helped bring to life. Without my support, his entry into the CEO's circle would collapse. He thought he could insult me without consequences, but I was the man behind the numbers he needed. The opportunity came at a follow-up meeting. Everyone was seated, including Khalid, smug as ever. When the CEO asked for progress updates, I calmly laid out my findings, then presented a critical flaw. A flaw only I could fix. A flaw that, if left unresolved, would cost Khalid millions. The room went silent as I turned toward him and said, "Respect is the foundation of trust. Without it, no deal stands." His face drained of color. He understood my message. The CEO frowned, realizing Khalid's arrogance had crossed a line. The conversation shifted quickly, but the damage to Khalid's reputation was done. No one in that room missed the connection between his insult at the party and the professional blow I had just delivered. Later that evening, Khalid approached me privately. Gone was his smug smile. Instead, there was desperation. He muttered an apology, one that sounded more like begging than sincerity. I didn't respond. Some things don't deserve words. I simply walked away, leaving him standing in silence. Sarah looked at me when I got home, curious. I told her what happened, and relief filled her eyes. For her, it wasn't about revenge, it was about knowing I stood up for her, for us. She held my hand, whispering, "That's the man I married." From that day on, Khalid avoided me. His arrogance diminished, his influence weakened. Meanwhile, my position in the company grew stronger. The CEO respected how I handled the situation without violence, with precision instead. I learned something important too. Sometimes the best revenge is not in raising your voice, but in taking away the power of those who try to belittle you. And every time I think of that night, I remember the look in Khalid's eyes when he realized money couldn't buy everything. Not dignity, not respect, and certainly not my wife. That was the night he learned his lesson, and the night I took back my pride.